I'm making this video to remember how this feeling feels of being done with a class that you hate. So let me tell you a story. This semester, I was planning on taking Chinese. I think I mentioned this in my last video. I didn't expect you watched it because, like, who the fuck would watch like 20 minutes of this face talking? Whatever. I don't know. But for those of you who might have not seen it, I studied abroad this past summer, and I really, really, really wanted to learn Chinese. And when I was in Hong Kong, which they speak Cantonese, obviously, but I want to learn Mandarin mostly because even people who speak Cantonese were telling me not to learn Cantonese if you're not planning on moving to Hong Kong, which I don't know in my life. Maybe I'll move to Hong Kong. I have no idea. My life is a blank canvas. So I wanted to learn Mandarin, and I signed up for it's like Chinese 101. I think it's Asian Lang 101. I was really excited about it. I actually got my friend to switch into the class with me. We were going to take it together. It was a 9 a.m. class, so we were going, and it's 5 days a week, so we were going to treacherously, we were going to get through it together. It was going to be great. And then I ended up getting into the business minor here. Now, the story about this is that I don't like business, and I'm the only person in my family who isn't doing business. I'm an engineer. I'm studying computer science, and I'm very engineering minded. I have been my whole life. I like math. I like science. I don't like writing papers. Like, that's just me. I love math exams. I think they're really fun. I think they're really challenging and interesting. And I leave the exams like having a good time and like looking up, trying to like ponder what the answer is and work through it later and think of better ways of doing it because I'm a fucking nerd and that's just how I am. And that's just, I hope someone can relate to that. I don't know. Maybe not. That's fine. The point is that, my whole family is business people and I'm not a business person. But I was like, you know what, like a business minor, it's only like, what, like 5 classes, and, you know, maybe it's some good information, right? So I ended up having, when I got into this, and I had to change my schedule for this past semester that I just finished, this is now December 20th at exactly 5 p.m., but when I was, going through all of this, it was the summer, and I was like, I'm going to take some class just to try it out. And in my mind, I'm going to go through with it, but let's start with one that, it's pretty representative of what business is like. So for some strange reason, I decided to take finance. I think part of me was just always interested in what that means. Like, I always heard about people in their finance classes, and I was like, what is finance? Doesn't mean anything. Like being financial to me means like saving money. Like, what is a finance class, right? So I'm like, all right, like I'll go ahead and try it. Like, I don't know. I didn't really want to start with accounting because I just was like, maybe accounting's really hard, and I feel like finance will be easier. And I had a friend who took finance last semester, and she told me it wasn't that bad. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll start with that. So I had to drop Chinese, and I picked up finance. And my friend, so I'm kind of notoriously known for like switching my classes around a lot. Like, I don't know why, I just am. And my friend was trapped in the middle of this because I basically made her sign up for this Chinese class with me, and then I ended up switching out. Granted, like, she also wanted to learn Chinese. She is Chinese. She wanted to like understand like Chinese so she could like speak to her grandparents. A much stronger reason than I guess I had to learn Chinese. Granted, I still want to learn Chinese. I also want to learn Hindi. I want to learn Arabic. I also want to learn Swedish. So I have a lot of languages, on the queue for me to be learning currently. But anyways, so I decided to drop Chinese and take finance. So, everything's going well. Finance is 4 exams, and the first exam was completely fine. It was time value money, and if you've taken a finance class before, or honestly had been to like the 5th grade, then if you put this much money in a bank account at day 1, and every year you gain 6% interest, what will you have after 5 years? That's not hard. It's an equation. You plug numbers in, plug and chug, get the answers. It's good. And I was like, wow, finance is so fun. Like, I like this. It's mathy. It's different. But it's also like familiar. And I'm like, it's not that bad. Yeah, so that was maybe like September when I thought that. And then I don't know how to explain this rather than just I got busy with life, which, by the way, has sucked this past semester. Very dark time. I'm happy I'm moving past it, upward and onward, I guess. But, what am I even counting down? I don't remember. I had my fingers up. I don't remember what I was counting. Basically, it got really hard is the point I'm trying to get at. I think it was life. I think it was the other classes, my other responsibilities. I couldn't focus on finance too much. The second exam was terrifying. The night before the exam, I think this is probably like late October. I don't know. I literally was like sitting on that couch right there, basically sobbing about how, oh my God, like I've never been more confused before an exam in my entire life. I don't know any of this. My professor basically said that all of this section should be easy to remember from our accounting classes that we've taken in the past. I've never taken any fucking accounting classes in the past. They never told me I would need to. Actually, they specifically said there's no required or even recommended order of these business classes. You can take them in any order. The minor is like intro finance, intro accounting, intro marketing, stuff like that. And they were like, take it in any order. And they obviously were not correct in saying that, because they told me to take a finance class that I was not really ready for. It wasn't terrible. Like, when I say it wasn't terrible, I mean like, the problem wasn't just that I was like behind, because it was just like a hard class anyways. But yeah, it was a lot of accounting terms that I did not know. Luckily, my dad's an accountant, and so I would call him and make him explain things to me. And it's so interesting how, I mean, not to like suck my own dick for a second, but like I am a good student. Like I've always been a good student. I've always been someone who like has good study habits. I do well in courses. I get decent grades that I'm proud of, I guess. And I just like usually I'm not someone who has this test anxiety where before I take an exam, I just don't get it and it just isn't working and not connecting. And that's how I felt with this class. I just like could not get it. And it just got worse and worse throughout the semester. The worst was the third exam out of the fourth. And the reason is this section of the material, I made an effort to go to class, take amazing notes, do all the homework, just take it super, super, super seriously. And I ended up somehow bombing the exam. And it was funny because I remember once the exam was over, I thought it went well. Like, I was like, there's no reason why I would bomb this exam. Like, it was like totally was like, I understood everything. It was on like risk. And different risk factors like capital M or cap M. I don't even fucking know. Whatever. It was on that. And I remember being so ready for this exam. I did practice exams, like getting 100 on the practice exams. And somehow I bombed this exam. I got every true or false question wrong, which I don't even know statistically how that's possible. There's a 50% chance you're going to get the question right. And somehow on all 5 of them, I got them wrong. And for some reason, they're all like 5 points each, the 5% of your exam. So it's like 25% of this exam is these 5 true or false questions. It's so stupid. I wrote a course evaluation about it, and I think he took it to heart because the final was different. The final I took this morning. So I ended up having my final this morning for the class, and it was on like stock options and stuff. I say that word weirdly because I'm from the Midwest. Stock options. I don't know, whatever. I'm a farmer, yeehaw. So I took that exam, and I was really scared once again. This was like the second exam all over again where I just was like sobbing. I just like did not understand the content. It was too much. And I don't know. I feel like the exam was okay. Like it went kind of like how my other exams went. I don't feel as good as I did on my last exam, which I ended up bombing. So, I have no idea how I did this class. But I think it's a moral to myself of a few things. One, there's a stigma on campus here that like business is easy and that like the business courses are so easy, and like I think it's just like this like haughty like engineering mindset where you're like, no one's work could possibly be as hard as mine is. And I am in the EECS department, I'm in the computer science department, so I genuinely, I feel like I buy into that a little bit. This whole like, my life is so much harder than these like business students, I don't get what they are even learning in their classes. Mad respect for business students. I could never ever be a business major, and I know that after taking this class. Oh my goodness, it was so hard. And it's funny because like I think most people don't find this class hard, and honestly if I had the time to put like all my energy into it, maybe I wouldn't have found this class that hard either, but I just couldn't. It was terrible. I was on the phone with my mom and my dad like 2 days ago for like probably like 4 hours, 6 hours, I don't know, just trying to understand like what an IPO is. And like my professor totally assumes that this is just like general like dinner time conversation. It's not for me. So it was a lot, and I just want to like remember how this feels to walk out of that fucking exam, take my cheat sheet and rip it into a million pieces and say, I will never ever take a finance class ever again. Mad respect for people who are into this. One of my really good friends who goes to NYU, this is like his thing. Like he does finance, and I don't get it. I don't relate. I know that there's people who feel this way about programming. They're like, I don't get how you do this for a living. I mean, I do it for a living. Yeah, I'm a student. I will be this summer, I guess. But like, Yeah, and to me, it's so silly that you would even say that because to me, computer science is everything, and it's like my whole life, and I view life out of the lens of an engineering mind, like of a computer science mind. Like I look at things and think of how like computers were helpful in producing these things, and I look at these like services like Facebook and Twitter, and I think now about the back end of how that works and how the database stores everything and how the APIs work, and this is how I view the world. And so to me, for you to sit here and say that you don't understand programming or that you think it's really intimidating, like I don't get that. Because that's just my life. That's my lens. And there's some people who might feel that way about finance. And to me, I can't do it. It was too much. I'm no longer doing the minor, which I feel like I kind of like gave up a little easily on that. I think part of it was I also just like I'm not interested in business. I don't know why I'm doing a business minor. And I'm going to go back to another minor, I think, that I'm working on, which I'm not going to say yet because, knowing me, I'm probably going to change it. But I guess the moral of the story is one, business students, mad respect. Two, you're not going to be good at everything. I'm talking to myself, and I'm also talking to whoever's watching this. You're not going to be good at everything, and it's okay to struggle. And use your resources that you can use and understand that there are people who want to help you and want you to succeed in whatever you're trying to do. I don't know my grade in I got a funny text. I don't know my grade in my finance class. I just took the final this morning. And I know that this class is actually the reason that my other grades suffered this semester, which kind of sucks. I don't even have like terrible grades this semester, but it's definitely like subpar for my standards. And you know what? Like I could sit here and whine about it and cry about it, but at the end of the day, I didn't lose much this semester. Yeah, my GPA probably dipped a little bit, but first off, I have an internship for next summer. I am, safely in this school. I'm gonna graduate not this year, but next year. There's nothing really to be like worried about or panicked about, I should say. Um, and on top of all this, I gained finance knowledge, I guess. Like I can say it's cool that I know how like the stock market works now, and I know how like what a bond is. Like I had no idea. Um, I don't know if I'm ever going to buy a bond. I don't know how relevant this information is going to be to me, but I guess that's the icing on the cake is that everything's okay. There's not a crisis, and now my nose is like weirdly running, and I'm like self-conscious it's going to show up on the camera, so I have to look. Is there like mucus coming out of my nose? No, there isn't. Good. I have a pimple here. I'm aware. I don't need to comment about it. Yeah. So, anyways, that's my little tale about why finance sucks, but also why it's okay that sometimes things might suck, academically. And yeah, so I am leaving this city. It is now my last final. I had a really, really, really hard final for my web class this semester, which I got my grade back. And once again, it's not a bad grade. It's just below what I would have liked to get in the class, but it's totally fine. At the end of the day, I'm not one to forget about grades, really. I mean, like, I typically things work out just as they're supposed to, and it's totally fine if I end up getting some really shitty grade in this finance class because you know what? Like, I put as much energy into it as I could have, and if it ended up not being for me, it's not for me. But I'm happy that there are other people that it is for. So, on that note, I'm going to sign off. And happy holidays. I don't know if I'll be posting before the holidays. Probably not, because I post, like every year and a half. So December 20th is upon us. That is current. Whatever that means. And I hope you all have a great holiday. So I'm like looking at myself now because I was looking to see if my nose was dripping mucus. Happy holidays. And if you're doing anything fun, have fun with it. I don't know where I was going with that. Yeah, so I will talk to y'all later. Ugh, goodbye.